Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deija and I'm the owner and artist behind Deja Vu Art. And today we are finally going to be painting an air dry clay project that I have been waiting to dry for weeks now. About 4 weeks ago, I made this little air dry clay Care Bear paintbrush holder, but every time I painted it, the paint would just peel off because the clay was not fully dry. But it is now, so let's go ahead, get on Pinterest, and figure out what exactly we want to do with our little Care Bear. I knew I wanted to do Wish Bear, but I thought it was so cute that I actually found a picture of him with a lollipop, since that's what we're doing today. But really, I'm looking for a picture whose colors show the actual dimension of the Care Bear so I can make sure to get all his little curves right. Now, because last time I painted it and the paint just peeled right off, I really didn't want to take any chances. I gave this an additional 3 weeks to dry, but then decided that I was actually going to prime it with Rust-Oleum's matte white primer paint. I specifically wanted to use a spray paint so that you can get a nice even coating while also being able to get a really nice thin coating on top of everything, because at the end of the day we really don't want to soak this in paint right now, because that's what's going to cause more of that paint to actually drip right off when you go to paint your layers on it later. Okay, after 48 hours of letting the spray paint settle, and it's time to paint. Starting off right now, I'm just layering on the pink, and I'm actually really happy that I started with the tray because I would have been so upset if I painted this cloud and then got paint on it anyways. So yeah, just a reminder that the order in which you paint things is also super important. Now, at this point, I am going ahead and painting in this flower. I thought I wanted a really layered look with my flower, but after inspecting it, I really didn't like it. So I started over, and there's nothing wrong with starting over to get the look you want. Real quick, editing Deja here, yes, you can always start over. That is the beauty of art, is that you can paint on top again and again until you create something that you're really satisfied with. But for my perfectionists out there, it's also super important to kind of learn the exact opposite lesson and to just stop and let something be and accept that that's where it is as of right now. Otherwise, you might just keep tinkering for the rest of the painting, and that's not fun. It's totally okay to accept where you are, and it's totally okay to love yourself and your art for where you're at. So be sure to give yourself the grace of doing that as often as you possibly can. Again, create to your heart's content, but let's make sure our heart is content with all forms of our art. Okay, and we are done with the flower half of the tray. I'm really liking how it looks, but I want to preserve it and make sure I don't ruin it in any way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some Mod Podge on it now while I let it dry. Now, to be clear, I did let the actual flower dry before putting the Mod Podge on. But let's go ahead and let's get to this balloon, because I have been absolutely pressed about how the last balloon went, but the past is the past, and right now I'm excited about the whirly pop that I get to paint in front of me. Not gonna lie, the first half of this whirly pop did not come out how I wanted it to. It's giving Jujutsu Kaisen button vibes, if anyone understands that reference. But I really did enjoy how the second side came out, I guess. I really was able to apply what I did and didn't like, add my own personal style, and make something that I really enjoyed looking at in comparison to not. And because of that, I am of course going to try to redo the half I don't like. Does it come out much better? I don't know, maybe, yes. It depends how you look at it, literally. It depends on the angle you look at it. Now let's go ahead and add some more details to the better half. I am going ahead and putting down my base coat right now on this cloud. It's kind of an underpainting actually, since I am painting the colors that I will be putting underneath a more transparent white layer. But right now I wanted to use all these various colors to kind of show dimension of that cloud, so that when I do add that white on top of it, it's not just a really static, boring white color. But let's forget about these guys right now and let them dry, because it's time to finally paint Wish Bear. I like to start out by actually looking at all the curves and pockets and grooves of the clay so I can have an idea of where I'm going to be placing down different colors. Specifically, I'm going to be working with about 3 or 4 variations of the same color, from deeply saturated to way lighter. So I'm going to start off by just getting some paint on my palette and mixing up what I need. When I'm painting something that has a lot of curves and contours, I like to consider how I would actually put makeup on this person. because that is the way that I initially learned how to create a more dimensional look with color. So starting off, I'm actually going to be taking what I would consider my contour color and putting it in all the spaces and crevices that he needs it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that more highlight / foundation color on top of every other part that isn't contoured. At this point, I'm going to use a little bit of a highlight color to help snatch that nose up for him, and then I'm going to work on his little belly. So even though he's my favorite now, Love-A-Lot Bear actually used to be my girl when I was a kid. I used to love that little stuffed animal, take it everywhere, I will never forget. But once I learned that there were actually personalities behind some of these bears, I absolutely fell in love with Wish Bear, on top of the fact that green is just now my new favorite color. Now, painting the rainbow was pretty easy, but the stars were something I was a little bit more worried about. Since they were outlined, I actually start by coloring in the star the color of the outline, and then from there, I take that lighter yellow color and I just paint within to create an outline kind of the opposite way. But it works for me when I paint, and now I am on to the eyes. I'm so excited and so nervous because just like when I paint dogs, these are kind of the way to the soul. I don't like to use black though, so I always use a really dark shade of purple to get that black color down instead. Now the first eye came out really well, eyelashes included, but when I worked on the second eye, the shape looked a little bit different. So just like when you're trying to do a winged eyeliner, of course you go back to the other eye and you try to make it match. Now I love adding the little dots of shine to the eye because it means that it's actually almost over. And by almost, I mean it is done. I just need to make sure to actually protect and glaze it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some Mod Podge on it right now to make sure that nothing happens to her. Now obviously when the Mod Podge goes down onto the pieces, it looks white, but this will be drying a very clear, very shiny color, just like this tray. And now that this tray is dry, I can actually add the transparent white layer right on top. But before I do that, I'm actually gonna mix it in with my gloss glazing liquid so that I can make sure that it really is more transparent than not. Obviously this paint isn't opaque, but I really don't want to cover up all the work I've done. Okay guys, at this point we are pretty much done with each individual piece, which is super exciting because at this point it really is all about just letting them dry properly and giving them time. So I'm gonna leave them for now and I'll catch you back tomorrow. A few seconds of editing magic later and they are fully dry. All the pieces came out really well. All the Mod Podge dried really well. It has a nice, really shiny coat on it. And at this point, it really is just about putting it together and praying it does not break in any way, shape, or form. So I'm gonna be really delicate about the way I'm putting this lollipop in his hand. Oh, that didn't look super delicate, but it's all good because she came out perfectly. And I am so excited to continue using her in my loft and just looking at her every single day. Okay guys, after all that drying time and painting time, he is finally done and I absolutely love him. It's so nice to be able to create some of your own little art trinkets with your own hands and to just have that displayed throughout your studio. So I think it's gonna be so awesome once I do get around to redecorating the space to finding the perfect space for him. But until then, I'm just gonna bask in how absolutely proud I am of this little piece. I think he's gonna bring a smile to my face every single day, as well as remind me that wishes do come true as long as you believe and work for them hard enough. So I am super excited to have him around as a little bit of inspiration to me, and even more excited to create more clay trinkets soon. But until then, in order to keep him safe, I am going to be using Gorilla Glue to put down on the places where the butt connects to the cloud so that I don't have to kind of worry about breaking in the future, because he broke enough throughout this process and he really did a lot to get here. So super grateful to him, super grateful for the experience, and super grateful for you guys. I can't believe there are over 900 followers in my community by now. So if you'd like to be a part of that cozy little art community, like, follow, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.